Hi, it's Shayna here in my Western Washington Zone 8B garden, and in today's video we are planting out our fall garden. It's crucial to start your fall garden on time, that way your plants can mature enough before the daylight hours really start to wind down. I made that mistake last year and I didn't get my fall garden planted out on time. I'm doing a mix of planting some things indoors in seed trays under grow lights as well as direct sowing. So come along with me and I'll show you what we're starting indoor today for our fall garden. I'm going to start with my Brassicas. The Brassicas that I'm going to be sowing are broccoli. This is a broccoli from Hume Organic Seeds. I am going to try growing Romanesco broccoli this year. I've heard it's really more or less a cross between like cauliflower and broccoli. Brussels sprouts. Brussels sprouts take a long time to get set up. Cabbage, so I'm growing a couple different varieties. This is a Green Express cabbage from Botanical Interests, or actually Epic Gardening. Red Globe cabbage from Territorial Seeds. I had good success in the spring with the Red Globe cabbage from Territorial Seeds and the Green Express cabbage. Cauliflower, purple cauliflower, Collards, Kale. This time I'm going to do a curly kale. I've only ever done dinosaur, which I already direct sowed some seeds a couple weeks ago. So I wanted to also add a curly kale just to see what I like better. And then also a purple kale. So the purple varieties of like lettuces, they handle cool weather much better. So this year I'm going to get a good jump on these darker color lettuces because my goal is to have lettuce all throughout the winter. And I wasn't successful in that goal last year. So hopefully this year we can have lettuce year round. And watercress. The CDC actually claims that watercress is the most nutrient dense vegetable. So that's why I wanted to start growing it. So for some of these larger crops, broccoli, cabbage, cauliflower, I'm using this seed tray from Burpee. I got this off Amazon. If you're interested, I'll link these products down below in the video description for you to check out. But what I like about these seed trays, you can tell they're very used, is that they have a silicone base and you just pop them out. So there's very like minimal root disturbance, which is great for preventing transplant shock. I've actually been able to transplant a lot of plants that don't like transplanting or do well with transplanting just because these trays are much better at keeping the roots unbothered or undisturbed. That being said, if you let them grow too long with the roots getting matted to the bottom, which I am guilty of doing, you'll have a lot of root disturbance, but just make sure you transplant them on time. As for the lettuces that I'm going to be starting indoor, so romaine, I'm actually going to direct sow and start indoor. Romaine is relatively heat tolerant. It just doesn't like the extreme. Doesn't like the extreme cold, doesn't like the extreme heat. So I am going to try sowing this directly and in trays. Great Lakes iceberg lettuce from Botanical Interests, butter crunch lettuce, sorrel. Sorrel also does well in cool weather. It's supposed to have like a lemony flavor. I grew it and I never ate it. So this year, hopefully grow it and eat it. Spinach, I never have good luck with spinach. I have tried so many different seed brands. I don't know what it is. Apparently I just can't grow spinach. Do you guys struggle to grow spinach, or is that just me? Or do like all gardeners have that one thing that we just like can't grow? Bok choy does really well in the cool weather. I actually had this growing under grow cover last winter and it bolted. And I think it was like too warm under cover. So I'm just not even gonna cover it this year and see how this does. Arugula, I love arugula. A loose leaf Merlot lettuce from Territorial Seeds. A red romaine. This red romaine did wonderful for me over the winter and into spring. So last year I planted starts out in like February, which is why I'm starting it earlier and gonna get it put out as it's more established. So hopefully I can actually harvest in the winter. But when I planted it out in February, I had an astounding amount of lettuce. I gave away probably like 30 heads of lettuce, a lot of it being this red romaine. So this is a red romaine from Hume Seeds. I do recommend growing this one in the winter because I've had really good success with it. Now let's talk about flowers that I'm starting. I am a novice when it comes to growing flowers. So some of these that I'm going to mention are, I'm going to start now. It's going to be like an experiment, right? Like most of gardening is an experiment. But I'm going to try growing these now. And a lot of these I'm going to plant in the fall, but I might not actually get flowers yet. They might pop up in the spring or even next summer. I just kind of want to get them established and set up. So I'm starting stock, poppies, an Iceland poppy mixture that looked fun, black-eyed Susan, purple coneflower. I'm also going to start sowing bee balm. This is one that probably won't pop up until like next summer per my research. I wanted the bee balm for my tea garden. Rosemary I never seem to have good success with. I'm also probably going to start like thyme, more dill, more cilantro. I'm also direct sowing those as well. And then artichokes. So weirdly enough, my artichokes are doing well now, which is weird because it's like peak summer, but I have them kind of in some shadier conditions. So yeah, I'm going to start some more and see how they do. Next up, my alliums. So with my alliums, I've had really good success sowing them in these just like medium-sized nursery pots. I just literally blanket sow pretty much the whole packet in this container because they do very well with root disturbance, and then they'll just grow a ton and you just break them up and plant them out. That's how I grow my alliums, and it seems to work the best for me. For filling the seed trays, I have a nice light pre-moistened soil. So first I'm gonna fill my seed starting trays, but I wanna tell you about my seed starting mix. So I do not use a store-bought branded mix. I make my own, and I have had to alter this recipe as the years go just to see what works best for me. So far what I have found, because this is my 3rd year gardening, is a blend of equal parts of coconut coir, perlite, and vermiculite work very well for me, with the addition of worm castings or compost, something for a little bit of added nutrition. Now, your seeds actually don't need nutrition to germinate, but once they start developing their true leaves, they do. And what I have found is just by supplementing a little bit of nutrition, you don't want a lot because that could harm them, but supplementing a little bit, my seedlings tend to fare better as they're starting to grow. But let me know what seed starting mix you guys use. And if you guys make your own, what do you add to yours? Because I'm really curious how I can adapt my seed starting mix to be better. For these big trays, I'm going to use these for my larger plants like brassicas, my artichokes, things like that.
The small seed trays are going to be used for my lettuce varieties and flowers. I'm going to be using a chopstick to create the indents for the seeds. Then I'm going to be sowing 2 seeds per cell. In some of my seed packets that are older, I'm even going to sow like 3 or 4 seeds per cell just to increase my odds of germination. And then you'll thin out all of the extra plants. Now, I am really bad at thinning out. It low-key kills me inside. So I usually just try to make more plants instead.
And how I keep track of what I have planted in each cell, I put a toothpick in the corner here, which I know that I'm always going to put the toothpick in the top left-hand corner. I label each tray 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, starting on the left-hand column, going down and across. I've got green sprouting broccoli, Romanesco, green express cabbage, and red globe cabbage. So that's how I choose to organize it. You can do it how you would like, but that's just how I do it. I wish I had more of these larger ones just because you do have to transplant these smaller ones out pretty early, but it is a nice way to get a lot of plants in a smaller amount of space. I also have these smaller trays. These are 36 cell seed trays. I like to use these for flowers and lettuce. The only annoying thing is, especially for the lettuce, you kind of have to transplant them out pretty early or up pot them pretty early. But they tend to do pretty well with root disturbance. So that's why I use those for that. Additionally, you can do soil blocking. So soil blocking is something that I'm newly getting into. I have enough trays for what I'm starting, at least right now. I'll show you what it looks like. This is a soil blocker. How you use it is you can see that there's little cubes, and you pack each cube in with soil. It has to be pretty wet so it can stick together and form a cluster. You pack it in, and then you just, oh God, that sound. Squeeze them out, and it makes little soil block cubes that you can then put on trays. It doesn't need to be expensive. You can just use what you have on hand. It's the great thing about soil blocking. You're saving space. Almost no plastic is involved besides the little pegs that create the holes for the seeds. And I do plan on getting more into this. I just need more practice with it. Next, I'm going to use these pots for my alliums. So starting with chives, I'm literally just going to sprinkle a ton in. Yep, took the rest of the packet.
I'm topping it with more soil and just patting it in lightly.
Next up, leeks.
I'm repeating the same process for my leeks and bunching onions.
Okay, before I bring these trays inside, I'm gonna give them a good water. I'm using this spray bottle. It's a Vivo Sun 50-ounce spray bottle. I like it because it gives me much more control when watering in my seedlings. I tend to be pretty type B with a lot of things, and then I would just douse them and it would wash away the seeds. So I find myself having a lot more control using a spray bottle. So usually I just top water these until they sprout, and then I start filling the bottom of the tray to bottom water. And now I'm gonna move all of them indoor under my grow lights.
Here's a little peek at what my indoor growing setup looks like.
Here is everything I'm going to be direct sowing for like a second succession of my summer garden. I'm not sure if these are all going to work, but we're going to try it out. And my thought is maybe I could try to finish them under row cover if needed. So I'm going to be sowing another round of Black Beauty, zucchini, patty pan squash. These are both from Botanical Interest. Actually, all of these are from Botanical Interest. I've got Durrani summer squash, Space Master 80 cucumber, Armenian cucumber. I've yet to get my Armenian cucumbers to grow. It might just be a faulty packet, but I'm gonna keep trying until they're gone. The Minnesota midget cantaloupe. So the cantaloupe, it says 60 to 70 days, and seeing how my first frost date should be around the beginning of November, it should be okay. We'll see. We're gonna try it out. And then same thing with this blacktail mountain watermelon. I've never grown watermelon, but I recently got into juicing and I've been mixing like fresh watermelon juice with lime and mint, and then I've been using that as like an iced tea version, and I'm getting really into like mocktails and stuff right now. So I want to try growing my own watermelon, a small variety specifically designed for my climate here in Western Washington. Casperita pumpkin. It's a small, cute white pumpkin. For everything that I'm direct sowing, I'm really going to be paying attention to my microclimate within my garden. For all my second sowing summer crops, I'm going to be mostly using this bed and the beds that get the most heat and sunlight. For some reason, this bed compared to this bed is way behind. Now, I don't know if it's because the Brassicas like took up all the nutrients. So I'm definitely going to be fertilizing my existing plants. So in this corner here, I'm going to plant out some of these Casperita pumpkins. These are the white small pumpkins. I think it'd be really cute to have them hanging over. These are frost sensitive, but should be mature after 75 to 80 days. So we'll be cutting it close, but worth a shot. I'm also going to be planting out some cucumbers and red scarlet runner beans. This spot, I'll be doing my watermelon. If anything doesn't take, I'll try to climb it this way. Same concept with my cantaloupe. I've also got my Durrani squash, patty pan squash, and black beauty squash. I believe these are all bush varieties. So I'm just going to be planting them amongst the rest of my onions that oh, this one can be harvested because this bolted. I think that's it. And then I'm also going to be sprinkling some herbs and some marigolds along the outer edges. These are the marigolds I'm using. These get huge. So there are, I believe it's two kinds of marigolds. Ones that are like really little that don't get super tall, and the ones that get huge. These ones get huge. The last 2 seasons, I kept getting just huge plants where I could just form these beautiful marigold only bouquets. They're gorgeous. So I'm gonna put them kind of on the outside. That way they can flower and kind of droop out. So this is my vertical tomato bed. I have 12 tomato plants in this bed that I'm all training to grow up vertically. And then I also have rutabagas in the middle half here, and then I've got basil all along the side. But I am going to be direct sowing some more basil, just different kinds of basil. So I'm going to be sowing some purple Petra basil. I had a lot of starts of this that I killed off. I actually killed off this and a bunch of lettuce like several weeks ago, so I'm super bummed about that. So I'm just going to try direct sowing it in this bed with the tomatoes, and then as well as Thai basil. I've been cleaning out these back beds for a couple weeks now. I harvested a lot of potatoes. I did direct sow some kale, spinach, bok choy, what else? Winter density, and just some more winter lettuce varieties in this back bed a couple weeks ago. Back beds here get a lot more shade. So the root crops that I plan on planting out in these back beds here are watermelon, radish, carrots, Swiss chard, beets, and then sunflowers, not a root crop. But I did pick up a different variety, and it might be too late, but I'm gonna try it anyway on this back row. And then I'm also gonna sow some more flowers. So the different flowers that I'm direct sowing right now are Love in a Mist, yarrow, I'm gonna put some more in my tea garden, zinnias, some snapdragons, those might not pop up until next year, I believe, hollyhock, cosmos, and daisies. Do your research before looking up flowers. I am a total newbie to flowers. Did a quick search of what might grow now or what would potentially start to grow and then form flowers next spring, which is fine by me. So anyway, that's everything that I'm planting out in my fall garden. So I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Let me know if you have any questions down below, and I hope to see you guys in the next video. If you enjoyed the video, I encourage you to subscribe, and let's grow together.